Okay, so I've been trying to just get better at using Linux in general. So I've been learning about other programs and commands that they are and how to use them and where I might want to use them. One of the things that I came across was the tree command. Now, this command is more like a graphical version of the ls command, as about as graphical as a console tends to get. And the first thing that I learned about it was that tree does not just come with the type of Archlinux distribution that I have. I had to actually install it. So it could be that whatever Linux distribution you are running, you might have to install a package from your package manager. And all you got to do is use whatever package manager you're using, and the package name is tree. So install that. It's very small, not even 10 megabytes by the looks of it. And there we go. We now have tree and it should work. So the first thing you're going to know, if you try to just run it from your home directory and you type in enter, you're going to get a lot of stuff printed up. But you can see how it kind of gets its name from. It sort of starts at the root folder, and then it will slowly print out every file and directory as it pertains to whatever structure you currently have. And it does it in sort of a tree looking format. And you can see here's a directory, and then here's the files inside of it. But this is a lot of information, so to make it easier, I am going to go ahead and use a directory that I already have, which is my programming directory. This is just a directory I put in all the stuff I'm doing to learn the Odin programming language. So the first thing I can do is, if I only want to look inside of a particular directory, starting from the current directory, I can pass in a relative path to it, or I can pass in the absolute path to it. In this case, I'll just pass in the relative path to the programming directory, and this will tell tree, starting from the programming directory, I would like you to print out all of the folders and all of the files inside of this in your nice little graphical way. And there we go. I have a much nicer representation of the file structure within the programming directory. I have my books. In this case, it is just book, and it is Understanding the Odin Programming Language, as a very good book. If you're trying to learn Odin, I would highly recommend it. It doesn't teach you how to program, but it really does give you an understanding of the Odin programming language. And then down here, I have all the stuff that I've been messing on with, just trying to get a bit better at programming, understanding a bit about graphics APIs, and so on and so forth. Now, one thing that is very common in Linux is that everything has a permission inside of it. But not a permission inside of it, but all files and directories have permissions associated with them. So if you would like to see the permission string that is associated with each file and directory, you can pass in one of the few flags that tree has, and one of those flags is P. P for permission. You do that, we get the exact same thing. But you can see here that we get the permission string along with the graphical structure, and it's associated whether it's the file or directory. Another thing that you might want to also know is how much space is each file taking up. And a way to do that, there's a few ways to do it, I think, but the way I know I've been using is H. H stands for human readable. H also works inside of the ls command like regular, and that will then print out everything. But if you see what we have here, we have a few numbers on the side, and this is how much data is currently being used. So in this case, this input.txt file over here is 17 kilobytes. This main.odin file is only 437 bits. Another thing that you might want is you might just be interested in the actual directory structure itself. You might not particularly care about all the files inside of them. You just want to see how the structure looks. It could be that you're trying to read a file from a directory that's not there, and you just want to have a quick glance at, hey, does this directory actually exist? So what we can do is we can pass in the D inside of this little flag string that we're passing in. And again, all these work on their own. So I will just do this for the example just to show that you can pass each letter in individually, and the order of these letters does not matter. You can see here that now all we're doing is we're printing out the directory names, and all the files have disappeared. And again, I can pass in the H and P if I want that other information alongside of it. Then one other thing that you might want to do is you might want to limit your search. You might want to say, I want to look at everything that's in here, but I only want to go one folder deep or one directory deep. I don't want to recursively print out everything. Because as we saw in the beginning of this video, if I was in my home directory, which I am right now, and I do tree, I get a lot. That's a lot of information. So you might want to limit that. You might only be interested in the first or second layer. And to do that, we can pass in the capital L and then pass in a number. And this will tell tree, I only want you to go one deep. And there you go. You just go into my home directory here, and it prints out the first layer of everything. And if I want a bit more information, I can go, okay, that's good. We want to go 2 deep. And you can see here that we're getting a little bit more associated with it. Again, just like before, we have the capital L, but we can pass in the D command if we're just interested in the directories. And just like with ls, we have hidden files and hidden directories inside of our Linux distribution, our Linux folder system, and we might want to see them. We might want to see them because a lot of it can pertain to configuration files. You might want to see where those are, and they tend to have a dot in front of them from what I have gathered. And to do that, you can just pass in the A like you would with ls. So by passing in the A, you can see here that I'm printing out everything up here. But if we go through this, you can see my .cache file or my .cache directory is there. My .config directory is there, and then everything stored within the .config. And there's the .env over there. So you can see if you want to print out your hidden stuff, just like ls, you can pass in the A. And again, all these work individually to each other. So I could do D, H, I could also do P to get it all, and then I could go, well, I only want this within my programming directory, and then there you go. That is sort of the basics of the tree command and how you can have a more graphical representation of your directory structure inside of Linux away from the ls command. So, yeah.